Hey YouTube, it's GTX King, and I'm going to give you guys a Fire King's deck list. So let's start with the monsters. First, we have 3 Fire King High Avatar Barong. Barong is the main search of the deck. In order to use his effect, he has to be destroyed by a card effect. Then, during the next standby phase, you get to add 1 Fire King to your hand, be it Garunix or Yaksha. You can't add himself. And now Yaksha. Yaksha's effect, when it's destroyed at all, so either by card effect or by battle, you can destroy 1 card in your hand. That might seem like a minus, but it's not when you destroy either Nephthys or Barong or Garunix. Garunix being the boss monster of the deck. Next is Fire King High Avatar Garunix. Garunix, when it's destroyed by a card effect, comes back during the next stamina phase, be it your opponent or yours, and you can just destroy every other monster on the field. So, and also, when it's destroyed by battle, you can special summon another one. Next card is Flamva Fire Dog. This is more of a tech-in card than really a main part of the deck. Since Yaksha and Barong both have 200 less defense, you can summon them both with this card. Or you can summon the Flamva Magician that I run, so you can go for Scrap Dragon, which is a really good card in this deck. Next is Flamva Magician. It's just a level 14er, lets you go for Scrap Dragon, and also lets you do some really interesting Xyz plays. And some also some awesome plays with Rekindling. The next card is Goka, the Pyre of Malice. This card is a really new one. You can summon it, and then when it's summoned, if you control a fire monster, you have to destroy that fire monster. So basically, you can summon this, and you get a free +1 with everything, because you get one of their effects. Next, Sacred Phoenix Nephthys. This is a really old card that nobody really used, but now it's coming back because it's like Garunix, but it destroys spells and traps, and it comes back during your next demo phase. You might not have much of attack, but it's still a really good card. Next, we're gonna start with the spells. I'm pretty sure the first 4 or 5 spells are all staples, like Dark Hole, Heavy, MST, and those. So I'll probably just skip that. So yeah, first Dark Hole. Well, Dark Hole is really good in this deck because you have the fact that it destroys your monsters too, and since all the Fire Kings have to be destroyed by card effect, it's just like destruction and you win because of it. Next is Fire Formation Tenkai. Tenkai, this card is a new one coming out in Cosmo Blazer. It's supposed to be support for the Fire Fist, but since both Yaksha and Barong are both Beast Warriors, you can add them to your hand with this, and it's a really good card. So I run 2 of them. And then next is Fire King's Fire Ring or Fire Cycle. I'm not sure which one it is because they're different. One's on the wiki and stuff. This card, it lets you destroy 1 on the field, 1 fire monster on the field, special summon 1 from your graveyard. So you can just you can sacrifice Garunix to summon another Garunix, and then it just loops it. Next is Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is actually really good in this deck, depending on how you use it. Like, you won't use this card for like 1 card. You might use it for a few different cards like Yaksha or Barong or Nephthys or Garunix. Next is Heavy Storm. Heavy Storm is a really good card in this deck because Bottomless and D-Prison really hurts you. Because if they remove from play your Garunix, you're screwed. So Heavy Storm is a really helpful card. Next, we have Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is just a staple. It's broken. Everybody knows what it does. And it's not fair. So I don't even think there's a real point of talking about this card. But it's in here, so I might as well talk about it. So Monster Reborn, yeah. Next card is Mystical Space Typhoon. I only run 1 because I couldn't really find space for more. But I would run this at least at 2, maybe 3. But with Nephthys being so much destruction of the spells and traps, I don't think I need it at 3. But once again, if they bottomless Garunix or they bottomless Nephthys or something, it hurts a lot. Onslaught of the Fire Kings. This card is amazing. You top deck this when you're about to lose, and you almost automatically win the duel. This card's amazing. It lets you summon 1 Fire King from your deck, basically, but it can be anything. It can be any fire monster, but it's destroyed at the end phase, so you can summon Nephthys if you need to destroy the spells and traps. Okay, next is Rekindling. Rekindling is just a super broken card. Rekindling Let you summon as many fire monsters with 200 or less defense from your deck. I mean, from the graveyard, and then they're removed from play. But that doesn't really do anything because you just overlay it, synchro. Okay, next I run 3 trade in. I run 3 trade in because having Garunix in your hand without Yaksha is not that good, and Nephthys without Yaksha is not that good. So since I run Monster Reborn and Fire King's Fire Cycle, trade in is a really good card because it lets you get +1. So that was the end of the main deck. Well, this is the end of the main deck. Is the trap cards. I don't run that many trap cards, but it's a good deck. And there's a few trap cards that I teched in, and I also put some in the side deck that are some interesting techs for this deck. So let's begin with 3 Call of the Haunted. Call of the Haunted is Call of the Haunted. It lets you summon one from your graveyard, but it's also chainable, which I really like. So they play heavy. You can chain Call of the Haunted, summon Garunix, and then because Call of the Haunted gets destroyed, it destroys Garunix, which activates its effect. Okay, now Horn of the Phantom Beast, since all of your monsters, or almost all of your monsters, are beasts or beast warriors, you can use this to increase their attack by 800. It's chainable, so it's really good, and it lets you draw a card. So that's awesome. Torrential Tribute. Torrential Tribute is also is a good staple, but it's also really good for this deck because it's like Dark Hole. It destroys everything on the field. And if you play this right, you can make your opponent minus a lot. So let's say you have like Nephthys on the field, and then they just swarm out like crazy. You can just chain Torrential and you win. Okay, let's start with a side deck. This is kind of an interesting side deck. I really just threw a few cards together in the side deck, but then I also had a few tech-ins just because I like some cards that I put in here that I almost tech in for every side deck unless you can't really. So let's start with 2 Lava Lakeside Ladies. Lakeside Lady is just a level 3 tuner. It works really well with the synergy of the deck because I run Rekindling, and it's just a level 3 tuner, so I can get out Black Rose if I really need to. Next is another MST. I run I side another MST because I told you back row really hurts this deck. But I didn't main it because I couldn't find room, first of all, and second of all, Nephthys does a lot of damage to the back row, and they can't really stop that damage. Next is Disorderly March. This card is really good if you can play it right. Basically, this card says you draw 3 cards if you have a Beast Warrior, a Beast, and a Wing Beast. It's 1 for each. And since I run every type in that deck, you get this card. And and the negative effect is that you can't use other spells and traps, but I don't run that many. Imperial Iron Wall. Imperial Iron Wall makes it so cards can't be removed from play. It's simple as that. This card is really helpful for the deck if you're playing against like Macro Rabbit when they're making D-Fishers, because that hurts a lot. And the next card is Needle Sealing. Needle Sealing is that Tekken that one guy used in, I think it was Joe Guranji or however you say it. It's when you have 4 face-up monsters on the field, you can destroy them all, like every monster on the field. So that's really good for you. So if your opponent swarms or you start swarming and you want to destroy stuff. So next I have Triple Royal Decree. Triple Royal Decree may seem a lot, but the fact that traps really hurt you because of Bottomless and Deep Prison and like Macro is like an auto lose. This card is awesome. And I like this other tech in that I put in. It's Skill Drain. Skill Drain doesn't affect Garunix and Nephthys, and the only really negative part is that you don't get to just blow stuff up. But if you really want to blow stuff up, you can just get rid of Skill Drain. And most of the time, nothing's going to be really needed to blow up if you have Skill Drain. And then the other Torrential Tribute is in here, just in case I really need it, like they're playing like a really big swarm deck, like that's a consistent swarm, like Mermail Atlanteans or something. Like I really don't want to face that deck, but it's fun to do this. Okay, the next part is the extra deck. The extra deck is a throwback of a few cards that I put in. Not that I really use the extra deck, but sometimes in a few duels it's actually saved me a lot. So the first card is Black Rose Dragon. Black Rose Dragon is just a nuke, and since I can't really make it because I don't run any level 3 tuners in the main deck, but I do run the 2 Lava Lakeside Ladies just in case I need to make the Black Rose in a different game, which I've never actually sided in. Next is 2 Scrap Dragon. Scrap Dragon is a really OP card in this deck because you can just go Rekindling, summon Flamvell Magician, and one of the other ones, and get out Garunix somehow. And then you destroy Garunix with Scrap Dragon, and you get like an instant plus like infinity. So yeah, Scrap Dragon's really good. Next is Direwolf the Terrafang. This card is like Scrap Dragon, except you can only target Beast Warrior Beast or Wing Beast monster, and then it destroys a card on the field, so it's really good. Next is 2 Gem Knight Pearl. Gem Knight Pearl is just a beater, and I just threw it in because I couldn't really think of anything else to put in here. So I have 2 Gem Knight Pearl, and then it's just 26. It gets over everything. Next, I have 2 Heretic Sun Dragon, Overlord of Heliopolis. I don't really make this card, but you use Garunix and Nephthys, and then you get to destroy stuff, which is fun, and that's what this deck does. You destroy stuff, so you can just overpower your opponent with this card, and it's just very helpful sometimes. Next is Maestro. Maestro is just a staple in the extra deck that everybody uses. Not that I've actually ever made it, but yeah, it's a good card, and it helps sometimes. Not really, but it helps. Next, I run Shockmaster. Shockmaster is only good if you really need it, and you can make it really easily with this deck because you have Rekindling, and you have like Onslaught, and you have a lot of other cards that let you easily make this card. But I've never actually made it because you minus too much making this card. And then we have Utopia. Utopia is a good card just because it negates attacks, but I've never actually made this card either. So I've never really had experience playing where I needed this card. So it's a good card, but overall, not really. So yeah. Steals from Roach. Steals from Roach is in here just because I don't like mirror matching. So if I can get rid of their Garunix, or I can get rid of one of the big monsters that I can't get over, like Malefic Cybrand or something, and they have skill drain, it's really helpful. And that's been the Fire King deck list. If you want to see the deck list, it'll be in the comments below. So yeah, thanks guys for watching this video. And yeah, so comment, subscribe, and thank you.